That was so easy. I really didn't think that was going to work as well as it did. So I don't know how many of you have seen this video by Low Soul Gamers, but it's a fantastic video about how you can AFK the fight caves and get to Jad really easily. Well, I'm kind of going to do an updated version of his video because now it's even more accessible and even more easy. So the biggest difference with my gear setup is I'm using Osmumtens Fang. Now that's a huge upgrade. We can see the differences between the Fang and the rapier here. A much higher stab bonus and much higher strength bonus. The Fang also has two passive effects. The first passive effect of the Osmumtens Fang, it rolls accuracy 2 times and the higher number is what was taken. The second passive effect means that if it passes an accuracy check on your hit, you're guaranteed to not hit a 0, which is absolutely fantastic for the fight caves because these creatures have high defense and we want our Blood Fury to heal us as much as possible, which means we're looking for successful hits. Talking of the Blood Fury, that's what's going to get us through these waves. It has a passive 20% chance to heal 30% of the damage you hit. To keep this accessible to a lot more people, I'm not using an Ellie, I'm using a Dragon Fire Shield. I'm also using a Ring of Suffering that's not imbued to balance out the fact that I'm using an Infernal Cape. Rather than Primordial Boots, I'm using Guardians. They give a lot higher defense. The other slightly big requirement of this is you're going to need full Justica. This gives a massive defense bonus and you couldn't make it through the waves without it. So before we get onto the waves, don't forget to drop a like and maybe even subscribe if you're enjoying the content so far and if you think this is going to work to get us to Jad. Rightio, just let this test for the first couple of waves and it's working quite well. So let's speed through this and see how we do. If you leave idle notifications on, it will let you know when you get low HP or prayer, so you just click Super Restore or Prayer Potions and just keep an eye on the timer for your super combat. So although I had no worries about the 90s and the 180s, it was the 360s that I had a bit of a worry about. They do hit high with melee, and you have to constantly be praying mage, otherwise this will just be game over. The Fang was making such a big difference. It was constant hits, and I started to not get worried at all. I got really low health a couple of times, and I was getting a little bit nervous, but luckily we managed to heal up and it was okay. So scrap everything I just said, sadly. This is technically where the challenge fails. I do have diaries done, so I did revive, but technically I have failed here. I'm very confident with another try or two, you could definitely get through this. It is a little bit of luck, but in this time I just didn't have enough luck. So before we go on to Jad, you can see how many melee hits I tank here. The armor is great most of the time until you die, but no, seriously, most of the time you do tank lots of hits and you can get away with it. So, going on to Jad now. You can tank hits from Jad, so where a bit of skill is required. You don't want to tank too many hits because it is quite 50-50. So you are going to have to attack healers, and kill them, and try and sort your prayers correctly, which I know is pretty much the hardest part of fight caves. So this might be where the more inexperienced players do fail. However, this method is a great way to get to Jad without much hassle. And there we have it. So up until Jad, it is really AFK. I was watching YouTube and barely touching the screen. I only need to drink a Super Restore. So this method is absolutely great if you're going for pet and you're playing other accounts at the same time. You can AFK all the waves up until Jad and then quickly kill it. And you've got your firecape, rinse and repeat, and you get your pet in no time. Where this method might be a little bit iffy is for people going for their first firecapes. I doubt people will be trying to get their first firecape with 99s and 100 million gear. So if you are really struggling, this could be your answer. But this method is probably not for the first time firecapers. I'd say this method has about 80% chance of completion, so if you do want to try and copy it, just copy my gear, copy my inventory, and just head on into fight caves. So if you have found this video helpful or informative, please drop a like and maybe even consider subscribing. Thank you.